Welcome, one and all, to Ants Are Everywhere. We're not actually ants, we're just people, human people who explore source code that we've not seen. It's like doing a sight reading exercise if you play music, or if you play jazz, it's an improvisation exercise. And we are exploring. You might explore. You can join us while we explore. You don't have to understand anything. You can just hang out. And hopefully, vibes skew towards the chill side. I'm not going to guarantee any particular level of chill. It's just they're kind of over in that direction. And growstuff is an open source project for small scale food growers. I don't know what small scale is. I imagine it's smaller than industrial farms, possibly the size of a household garden. Whoa, now where's your TLS cert, growstuff? That's not cool, but that's okay. And here are some crops. Our crops, I don't know what it means to be our crops. We'll explore the source code, but maybe we can click on one. It will tell us what I assume is the Latin name and not just random Latin that they happen to like. It tells you how to sow lima bean. Direct seed outdoors after soil is at least 24 degrees Celsius. Direct seed. I assume direct seed is a way of seeding as opposed to like telling the seed to go outdoors. I'm not sure what's up. Somebody suggested this, and it sounded kind of cool. It might kind of be just a database of seeds, and there's a community map and some posts, and there are members. So there's some sort of social function. I don't know if I can pick on anyone in particular. I don't want to pick on anyone. I'm curious what a member profile looks like, but I don't want to pick on anyone who's a real person. And there's a community map, and this is presumably some stuff about where grow seed growers are located. Some people get circles, some people get shovels, some people get carrots. Who gets a carrot? Who gets a shovel? Who gets a circle? I have no idea. We'll find that all out right now. So, based on the website, this seems like a relatively simple project, which is good. That's kind of how we learn. And what language do we have? It's Ruby. I don't know if it's Ruby on Rails. SCSS is, I believe, a version of scripting CSS that is maybe supposed to be nicer. Haml, I'm going to guess, is some sort of markup language. Basically ML. So maybe config based on the brief results I saw. And SCSS is syntactically awesome style sheets. Okay, HTML abstraction markup language. Markup should be beautiful. Okay, so it's I don't know if it's a subset of HTML, but it's something that seems to like render or process into HTML that is maybe shorter to type out, maybe shorter to scan with your eyeballs. I don't know what crowdin.yaml is. Is this some service you configure for the crowd and Cly? What is crowdin? Support.crowdin.com. Maybe they use this for deploying the website. It is AI-powered localization software. Okay. Is there a lag? I hope there's not a lag. There's a little one. Is it fixable? Let me try this. And if my whole computer dies, then yes, it did. Can I fix this? No. Let me try one more thing. momentarily. It's the work of a moment. Here's my BRB screen. I think you can still hear me while I do this. And let's do that. And this. And one more thing. No, it doesn't like that. Let's try this. Lordy, lordy, lordy. I'm going to stop. Okay, well, hopefully I'm back. I think I can double check this. Hello. Thank you. The Bedrock AI libraries. Do you mean Bedrock in the whoa. X Shunya is saying they love my code reading, especially the Bedrock AI libraries. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I assume you mean by Bedrock. I assume you mean the Bedrock as a descriptive term as opposed to the AWS Bedrock service, because I have not done anything with respect to that. But I have looked at several of the foundational AI libraries, and I'm super glad that you like them. I'm going to take one more half of a moment to double check that I'm back online. Oh no, I'm still... No, I should be good. Let's see. I got to go back to the... I want to see what YouTube Studio is showing to other people. I don't normally have this many technical difficulties. But this is the danger of being live. Am I here? I'm not here. Oh, no, I am here. But for some reason, let's try this. Am I back now? Yeah, okay. There we go. All right, so let's redo this. So Ikunya was saying they love my code reading libraries, especially the Bedrock AI libraries, which I really appreciate. I've looked at several of the foundational AI libraries, from how GPUs work to training models to some of the open source flagship models, like how they're written, what the various layers are. We've looked at, I believe, Torch, several reinforcement learning libraries, some JAX stuff. So there's a bunch out there that we've done, and you should check it out. And focusing on new and tiny projects is actually smart, especially for newer. Yeah, I thought it would be good to have something smaller. Unfortunately, I did not expect everything to crash while I was doing that. And maybe I will tempt fate by... I feel like I'm a little bit bright. Is this going to destroy... If I just roll down this a little bit? That might be better. Oh, it did not destroy everything. Okay, great. Thank you. Glad it's working. Thank you for bearing with me. Now, where were we? So we had decided this was a Ruby project. I assume Ruby on Rails. And that's just about it. And this, we had checked out this crowdin.yaml, which is some AI-powered localization. So localization is where you write a bunch of your, strings, words in English, for example, if this is a mainly English project. And then those are, for localization, the things that you need translated are typically stored in kind of a special sort of file. And then the different versions, different language versions are served based on the language that's requested. I don't know how to request a different language here, but I can try. Are you? No. Sometimes it kind of depends on the URL. I don't know if there's a way like down here about open source. So I don't know where it's configured in the site, but presumably somewhere. I'm not going to spend too long looking for it, I guess. Maybe we'll find out by reading the code. Okay. So there's this app.json, which I don't know Ruby, but I'm guessing is kind of like dependencies. It's like a description of metadata of the app. And we have environments. They're using Elasticsearch, I assume, for the search bar. Chomp. Found what? Found 7. Spider. I remind you of a cool learn. Hey, where'd that go? No, bring that back. That was totally fine. I wanted to read that. Something about a cool nerdy uncle. I'll take that. I'll accept that. And then there's some keys. These keys are what? Presumably API keys for using API. So they have some sort of Flickr integration, I'm guessing, and some Facebook integration. Have they committed their keys to source control? I hope not. I don't know where they're pulled from. I guess this is implying that they are, the all caps sort of implies to me that these are configured as environment variables. Presumably there's something like a Docker image that populates these environment variables with the secrets. And then they're using add-ons, such as whatever Bonsai is. Heroku is like a platform as a service sort of thing for like hosting containers and whatnot. And they're using Heroku PostgreSQL, so presumably PostgreSQL is the database. Memcached is a popular caching layer that kind of sits in front of your app and caches various things. Or I take that back. I think it sits beside your app. I'm not sure how. It depends on how you integrate it. Bonsai. I doubt it. Let's Ruby Bonsai. I'm guessing there are just multiple projects named Bonsai. There's a Bonsai tree. Maybe a plugin. Plugins on Bonsai. Getting started with. So this seems to be the right sort of thing. Maybe this is something about Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch, rather. Elasticsearch? Can't remember if the C is actually in there. Yeah. So I don't know what Bonsai is, but it seems to be part of the environment, something to do with searching. And SendGrid, I think, is like email. And it runs somehow in Node.js. Maybe just like the website-y stuff runs on Node.js, and the backend is Ruby. So let's take a look at, I'm guessing stuff is an app. DB, they might use an ORM, object relational mapper, which is, I'm not actually sure that's what all those letters stand for, but basically a way to hide from the developer the like database queries involved in like users or whatever. So you'll type user.username or something, and it will fetch that from the database if it needs to, and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure what's in DB, but let's take a quick look. Not a fan of Orm. Yeah, people told me they didn't like Orm when I first started. I don't have a strong opinion on it, although I don't use it myself. I guess I've never really used it enough to have had it hurt me personally. Okay, so this is like migrations. Migration is like if you change your database. Let's say you say you rename notification something. Where was that? Rename notification fields. So they're going to change to ID, I guess, to recipient ID and from ID to sender ID, which seems like a useful renaming. And so all of those little changes just go in here so that what's the alternative? The alternative is you kind of like start your database from new each time. This is just an easier way to do things where like if you make a change, it's stored in the Git repo. You can do things like rollback, I guess. I don't really know how you would roll back a migration, but it's just a convenient way to handle all of your database stuff. Unnecessary obfuscation. Yeah, you also have limited control over the performance, but for most things, like a Ruby on Rails app, I think you're typically not really going to notice it. They're relatively simple. And then in bin, we have just a little bit of stuff. These are just files. Rails is going to just require Rails. I'm guessing this is maybe kind of like boilerplate that might be generated by the like Rails generate project or start project, or usually there's some script that's provided. So I'm assuming everything is an app. Is there any other fields? There's lib log. Swagger, for those that don't know, is like a way of marking up your API. When I move my mouse around it, there's some like accessibility feature that's on by default that makes my mouse super big. So that's what's going on there. Okay, so lib has actions, assets, Haml filters. And I don't know if this is stuff that they wrote or boilerplate generated. There's some authentication stuff. Class growstuff OAuth signup action. And they're going to use OAuth. So if I sign up, it'll ask me for my login name and an email. And then you subscribe to the letter. But I don't know. I don't know how that works. Is there like sign in with Google? I don't know how the OAuth stuff is configured from OmniAuth. Let's look up OmniAuth. A flexible authentication system using RAC. RAC what? Standardized multi-provider authentication. So this is some, I think, library to plug into different auth systems. I don't know what RAC is. RAC middleware. It's requiring Sinatra, which I think is like a Java kind of clone of Ruby on Rails. At any rate, let's move on. So I think probably models will have a lot of what's interesting. Jobs is going to be like background tasks, like mailing people, cleaning up the database. I don't know what else would be here. Controllers should be like the logic that like tells that like adds behavior. Kind of models is sort of like the data representations. And then we should see views. Views here is like what things, some sort of description of what things are supposed to look like. I don't know if it's literally like HTML or Haml, or if it's some more abstract representation. And resources, models, mailers. Mailers is going to be for email. I'm like 99% sure. Resources, I don't know. Assets will be things like pictures. Did I open controllers? I think I just talked about them, right? And then services will typically be like long-running background jobs that are there to provide services. Like, I don't know. like database access, like access to Facebook possibly. I'm not sure. If you hear the beep, 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 dip, 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 that's, I think, my heater. Why? I don't know. It's just what it does. Okay, so here in models, we have the first tip off that this is about plants and planting. So we have plant part, like stamen, petal, I don't know. We have post, maybe like a blog post, maybe just the, maybe each, when we looked at the website, maybe each plant that we looked at was a post. Role. Scientific name. There you go. I don't know why scientific name gets its own file. I would have thought that that's basically metadata. But maybe this is just a thing with two, like maybe it's just essentially a struct with two fields. Member, like, harvest. We'll just open them all up. Garden type, garden collaborator. Garden I kind of want to start with. Can I open this here? No, I don't want to do that. So garden, crop post, crop companion, crop, and should we care about comment? I'll just open like all of them up. I don't know what an activity is. What is a concern? Maybe a cross-cutting concern? So concerns have these able. What are these? Are these, I forget are these gerunds? I forget what a gerund is. Is that okay to admit? In linguistics, a gerund is any of various non-finite verbs, non-finite verb forms in various languages. Most often, but not exclusively, it is one that functions as a noun. The name is derived from the late Latin gerundium, or gerundium, rather, meaning which is to be carried out. The gerund has the property of both verb and noun, such as being modifiable by an adverb and being able to take a direct object. The blanking form is often used. Okay, what part of speech is likable? Is there an E in there? I feel like there should be an E. Likable? These are just adjectives? Is that right? Photo capable. I feel like it has more structure because it's like a verbable. Is there a word for a verbable adjective? Maybe there's not. Maybe I'm just thinking of the ing form. A deverbal adjective, but behaves entirely like a standard, like washable, readable, etc. A verbal adjective. This is a broader term for any adjective-like word deriving from a verb. Okay, so these are deverbal adjectives. If you want to sound super nerdy. So these are presumably things that can be liked, like the like button applies to them. So let's take a look at this. This is module. I don't read Ruby. I am reading Ruby. I don't know anything about Ruby. So this is maybe like a mix-in in other languages. I don't know if this is called a mix-in, but it's a module. It extends active support concern. Concern is the name of the folder here, and it included do. I don't know what this notation means, but somehow a likable is a thing that has many likes, as in there's like a repeated field for likes. As, I don't know what that means. Likable, inverse of, likable, dependent, delete all. So these are presumably fields or actions that are defined on likable. And, or maybe these are things that return a likable. Like if you ask for likes, I don't know. And then there's this function liked by, question mark. This is presumably some Boolean function. It's going to return true or false. And you pass in, like, is this C liked by Gregory? Yes or no? and liked by members' names. And this seems to be like a function that takes no arguments and returns. We're going to filter all the members where the ID is one that likes .pluck member ID, .pluck login name. I'm not really sure what pluck is doing, but this is obviously some sort of filtering function that's looking for all the member IDs, is looking for every member ID that likes the thing, and then it's getting their login name, and I think that's what it's returning, I think. Search crops. Seems to be the Elasticsearch like integration. Search kick, word start, name description alternatives, name scientific name, searchable. So this is some configuration. I'm guessing this is pretty close to the actual format of the configuration. I don't know what this %i is, presumably some sort of substitution. But it's just, I think it's listing essentially the fields that Elasticsearch should index for searchability. And here's some stuff with search data. There's a slug, alternative names for the thing, I guess, photos, etc. Okay, so those are concerns. Those are like cross-cutting concerns. They don't really fit into the, like you're building a thing for gardening and plant. So gardening and planting, so you expect stuff like garden, plant, scientific name. You expect all that, but Elasticsearch or like Facebook integration doesn't really fit into that. So I think that's what the concerns folder is about. And then here we have plant part. Plant part is a class. I'm guessing this less than sign. This is like a classic ordering sign, at least in mathematics. I'm assuming this means that plant part is a subtype of application record. In other language, I guess other languages you would say like it extends application record or implements application record, kind of depending on what type application record is. But I'm assuming that's what this is doing. We could look it up, but I don't think we really have to. These, I guess, are fields. So it has a friendly ID, which is the name. And I don't know what slugged finders is. And it has many harvests, dependent destroy. So the dependent is maybe, I think this is probably configuration saying that if you delete the plant part, then all of the database stuff that depends on that plant part should also be destroyed. Otherwise, it's like referring back to a thing that doesn't exist anymore. Although I don't really know what a harvest is. But like if you try to add some illegal plant that's against the law, and then you like say how to harvest it and all of that stuff, then if they delete the illegal plant, they should delete all the stuff about how to harvest it, is the sort of thing I think that they're doing. It has many crops. And this joins members distinct. This is like SQL information. It shows up in your class, which is not my favorite thing, but that seems to be the thing that we do. And whatever through harvests means, there's presumably some join on harvests. And that's how we get crops or vice versa, kind of depending on what the syntax means. And then there are validators. It should have a name. And it should be unique, which you think you could be able to say by having, I feel like in other languages, you might just say like final name in the constructor. And then the ORM would be able to figure out that somehow, you probably have to say uniqueness anyway. And then here's some SQL-y stuff. We're going to inner join members on members ID equals harvest owner ID. That's just some SQL join. I still don't know what harvests are, but maybe we'll find out about them. Planting, this is maybe, again, an application record, so like a database thingy. We've got a friendly ID, photo capable, finishable. You can finish planting, I guess. Ownable, you can own it. You probably can't own like carrot. I'm guessing. Because like carrot should be a shared resource. But I guess you can like own, my planting of carrots in my particular garden. There's a planting slug. Use slugged finders. I'm guessing slugs is something for Elasticsearch. What do you think? Search by slug. It's not like a snail without a shell. A slug is the unique identifying part of a web address. A human readable unique identifier for a specific page or resource. Okay, so that's an important bit of human readable as opposed to machine readable, typically appearing at the end of the URL. So maybe it really is the URL. Okay. And how about our slugs? Just snails without shells. This might be true in like a kind of biological sense. That have lost their external shells through, so they've lost them through evolution. They've lost them. Do I have my repository in Git? Hello, X-Viewer. Yes. I have the open source code that I've worked on is in Git. It's not on GitHub yet. There's no particular reason. I'm going to mirror it to GitHub. If that's something people have an interest in, let me know, and I'll expedite that, prioritize that. But it's not publicly available yet. There used to be reasons for that. There are no longer reasons for that other than inertia. Otherwise, I'm not sure if that's not what you're referring to, then I'm not sure I understand your question. And just let me know more about what you mean, and I'll answer it. Okay, so first of all, I find it kind of surprising that the shells came first. Is that surprising? I guess shells are maybe pretty essential for a slimy creature, a squishy slimy creature. And I guess probably they evolved in the marine environment under the water. And snails have lost them through evolution. They're not just like snails, for example, that are kicked off their shell a few months ago or whatever, or like some mean boy took their shell away. All right. So what else is in planting? So this is all basically this is like reading SQL, except like custom SQL. Ike Shunya was saying they don't like ORM. I've seen ORM in Java. I don't think I've ever seen this where like the ORM, the ORM, the object relational mapping is like really closely bound to SQL. I've seen it be more kind of invisible. So I don't particularly like this. I feel like if you're going to do this, well, I don't know. I guess I won't pass judgment. I don't know if this is generated code, frozen string literal, or if this is, let's ask. No, I'm going to guess it's not generated. At any rate, but this is a way of programming SQL. It's totally fine if this is your thing. But if you already know SQL, it's kind of like, why would you pivot to here if you're not already here? And we have a bunch of scope stuff. I don't know what scope is about. What is this, planting? So we've got validators. These are like, making sure that things are like typed up correctly. Like you could imagine a validator for an email address. It should have an @ sign. It should be a legal email address, etc. Legal in the sense of like, I don't think you can have like a smiley face emoji in your email address. Maybe you can now, but you probably couldn't in the 80s. Whatever these scopes are, but we see things like, they're like properties. So it could be an annual planting, a perennial. And somehow so perennial is going to join with crops where crops are perennial. So this is like, maybe I can kind of see the why this is interesting, why this ORM is interesting. I'm not quite sure what they're doing here, but this is somehow a field, I'm guessing, that is restricted to perennials, and you don't have to do any real coding. You just describe the field, and it simultaneously does the SQL and the filtering. Is it that sort of thing? I don't know. And then we also have annuals, which is another kind of crop. Active, whether it's failed. I'm guessing like this is whether your planting itself failed. Like we have failed now to plant pumpkins, I think twice in our garden. In my task. Yeah, well, that's a good question. I'll put it up at some point. And then people can explore it. The code that I'm working on. But this particular code, it's in the description, the grow stuff, if that's what you mean. Okay, so planting, slug, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we'll look at, just because the purpose of the show is to kind of help people understand what it would be like to work on a repo, we'll dig in a little bit more to some of this stuff, but I'm going to not quite yet do that. I'm going to plow through some of these models and just see what the how the app is put together. So post is again an application record, so which I assume now is just a database entry. It's got an author, a date. It is photo capable. I'm guessing that's what include photo capable means, and it belongs to the author. And we've got this inverse of posts. So I guess this is somehow saying an author has several posts. The posts belong to the author. It belongs to forum. So you make a post is always in a particular forum. It has many comments, and it is commentable. And I guess if you delete the comment, if you delete the post, you should delete the comments. And similarly for the notifications, and whatever a crop post is. I'm guessing a crop post is sort of like a reference to like a planting that you're doing that goes into the forum. I don't know if I can see the forum without logging in. Screen shoot. What was it? .com? .org? Let's just try to search. growstuff.org. Can I see the forum? Posts. Forums. Let's go to forums. You should record a lullaby or read a nursery story. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you're finding my voice relaxing. I sing lullabies. I don't think I've ever recorded a story. Natural pest control, my interests. Integrating farm bot curves. Whoa. What is farm bot? Farm bot. It seems to be this. It's like I want to call it a 3D printer, even though it's not, but it's like no, it's not at all. I was going to say it has a similar XY thing. I think this is some sort of track. This is a track here. That might just be a wire. And you're going to move up and down this track. This is maybe just a cable, like a tractor style cable protector. This is some sort of computey thing, maybe a battery and a servo controller type thing. And what are we going to do? This thing is presumably water. I mean, what else are you going to do? Fertilizer? Farmbot. Open source robotic vegetable grower, able to take care of all aspects of sowing. What? And tending a vegetable plot. No, it's not water. I had no idea that this thing exists. Maybe we'll do this, I don't know, next. So CNC is maybe a good way of putting it. CNC gardening robot models, which suggests to me that it probably is like servos and servo controllers. or whatever they're called. And then there might be different tools. Do you change the tools? Formbot. There's a rotary tool. I'm guessing, yeah, I'm guessing it eats, I'm guessing you feed it CNC code. What is it called? G code? And you give it different tools, and maybe they sell the tools. Maybe you can make them or print them, and then you're like, I want a carrot here, 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 and then there's just some XY coordinate stuff. So in that way, it is a little bit like a 3D printer. Is that what I originally said? Let's look up G code. I will add G code to Wallabag. So G code is, I did not realize that the G was abbreviation for geometric. It's the code you feed into CNC machines. All right, thank you. Thank you for stopping by, especially for insomniacs like myself. Yeah, great. I'm glad. That's what I'm trying to go for with the chill vibes over here. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Okay, so we have posts. These are like forum posts. I feel like I thought this was going to be a really simple, very quick repo, but possibly because I keep going down rabbit holes. And also rabbits like vegetables, so that's not really that bad of a thing to do. But also I guess because I don't know Ruby, so I'm just having to guess at what various things mean. But at any rate, what I was implying but not quite saying is it's taken me longer than I thought to get like real to get to the meat of the repo. So we have role, extend friendly ID, validates, has, belongs to, members, crop wranglers, admins. So this is maybe a role for like permissions. I don't know what a crop wrangler is. Maybe it's kind of like a moderator for the crops, like to make sure I don't add like joke crops, like fake vegetables from a TV series I watched. And then admins, I'm guessing, is maybe a different group than crop wranglers, but I think these are different groups for doing administration tasks. Scientific name. It belongs to a crop. So here's why it gets its own file, is because it is its own database thing. So a crop has a scientific name. It belongs to the creator class. No, it belongs to the creator, the class name, member, inverse of created scientific names. So I'm guessing this means that like one of the things you can do if you join the site is add scientific names, and you can like look up, how many scientific names has Joe added. He's really spending a lot of his free time adding scientific names. It's beautifying the site and that sort of stuff. It just validates, you validate the presence of, and after the commit, you're going to reindex, I guess, so you can look up by scientific name. And I'm guessing that after commit is almost certainly commit of the database transaction and not commit to the GitHub repo. Although you could, all of the plant stuff seems to be stored in Postgres, which is great. Another thing you could possibly do is store it as, or export it as, like human readable text metadata, like a spreadsheet or more likely JSON or something. And then you could have people add scientific names through like a Git pull request. And they won't need to be like members of the site, or you could script them more easily, that sort of thing. Just a thought. Is it worth it? Probably not really. Here's member. Member, I think, is just like a user. They are geocodable, or rather, including geocodable, including Flickr. So that's the Flickr integration. I didn't really honestly realize Flickr was still a thing, but I believe it is. And a member has many, not necessarily a lot, but multiple. It's a repeated field: posts, comments, forums, gardens, plantings, seeds, harvests. Oh, I'm guessing a harvest is like the end of a planting. So you do a planting, and then either it fails, I guess, or you harvest it. And maybe the harvest will describe things like were the tomatoes and carrots yummy or not. We have database authenticable, registerable, recoverable. So these are all things you can do. I guess you can authenticate. I don't know what database authenticate means, but that's a thing you can do. So like is a like. And harvest, yeah. So we have like how many did we harvest? We had like an individual pumpkin, bunches of what, sprouts, a sprig of what? Some sort of spice, lavender. You can a handful, a liter. You can a peck of pickled peppers is not available, but you can pick a bushel. Okay. So let's get out of models. Garden type, a garden collaborator. This is presumably multiple members collaborating on a garden. It belongs to member and garden, and so on. Models garden. A garden has plantings, crops, activities, and garden collaborators. Okay, so what else do we have? Is this just this? This thing is just models. So here's jobs, which is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, and there's no jobs, as far as I can tell. Controllers and app we looked at. We can get rid of this stuff. So what do we have? We have views, services. The crop search service. I'm going to just do these kind of in order of like how quickly can I get rid of them now. Crop search service. This is presumably just setting up Elasticsearch. The word elastic doesn't appear there, but I'm guessing that's what this is. GBIF. Login name is cropbot. So this is some bot. Query the GBIF name, autocomplete, and discover the scientific name. Okay, so they are doing some automation of scientific names. The Global Biodiversity Information Facility. And I can do a search for ant. No. All right, never mind. I refuse to verify that I'm a human. I already know I'm a human. And then there's timeline service, which I'm guessing is like the Facebook timeline or the Twitter timeline. And it's going to query the member and a timeline of events by people the member follows. And query where the owner ID is followed, pluck. So we're going to get the people that we follow and then get all of their harvests, posts, comments, photos, seeds, activity. And then how are we going to put that on the page? I don't know. That's, I guess, the job of the view. So those are the services. There's not a lot there, but those are interesting services. Assets is mainly like images and JavaScripts in the plural. These are like scripts that are going to be on the website. I don't know if these are developed by the growstuff community or if these are imported from somewhere else. For example, this is something from HighCharts, whatever that is. I'm guessing these come from plugins and stuff. But if you really want to see the sunniness shade PNG, maybe we can look at it. It looks like this. It's like an icon or a logo, a visual indicator. All right, so, and then we have app resources, base resource, crop resource. What is this? I don't know. What is a resource? So crop resource extends base resource. It has many plantings. Is this Rails? I don't even know if we've ever seen the word Rails in the repo yet. Yes, we have. Okay. What is a resource in Rails? It is generally a database table which is represented by a model and acted on through a controller. Okay. Why do you need that? I'm not sure why you need another thing, but it's something about databases and models and controllers and possibly linking them up. So now we have two things left. We have controllers and views. So let's look at views quickly. Here's an admin view. Errors, follows, comments, alternate names. Let's look at comments. This should be relatively simple. Okay, so we do have, sorry that again, it is HTML. Okay, so we have html.haml. So this will presumably be moved into HTML, and I don't know, will paginate comments. I'm guessing this is kind of like a for loop. So it's going to maybe generate like a list, like an HTML list, probably unordered list of comments, and it's going to just kind of unroll the at comments for each. Oh, in fact, it's a for each loop. So at comments each do comment. Presumably that's like print the comment thing, and then I don't know, maybe I don't know this notation, but I'm guessing render single comment is the thing that actually prints it. But at any rate, I think that's what they're doing. They're just a compact way of saying have a bunch of comments. And then there's an edit file, render forum locals comment commentable, comment commentable. I'm guessing this might be mostly generated code, but I don't know. But it seems like the point of it is that Haml, maybe the point of it is that instead of having all the comment boxes at runtime, are they doing it at deployment time? I guess they can't be because they don't know how many comments there are. So I'm not really sure. I thought for a moment there might be like a C preprocessor where it just is doing text processing, but I think it is live rendering HTML. So XView is saying, I have one question regarding the language communication. Like, if there are two programs and they are coded by different language, how do they interact or communicate? That is a great question, XViewer. When did you ask this? 10 minutes ago? Sorry that it took so long to see this. In truth, the microphone was covering up the chat window. So there are several ways to do this. The simplest is most programming languages have a way to call code that's written in C through what's often called a foreign function interface, which we can look up. And that will just kind of be built into the language, and that's there so that, for example, you can call like kernel services in the operating system. But you can use that to write your other code in C and call that. If you have two languages like, let's say, Ruby and Python, typically they don't have a way of calling each other directly, although you can. If you can call Python, for example, on the shell, you can communicate to the shell with Ruby and just call a Python script as if you were calling it on the shell. That's another thing you can do. And then I think probably most commonly is the two languages will send messages to each other through some sort of like remote procedure call system, an RPC system, or in some cases an IPC system, an inter-process communication. And they'll just agree upon a format for what the messages mean, and then there will be like a web server on both on both pieces of code, and they will also have like web clients, and so they'll say, hey, hand me pass me the salt, or like tell me all users whose names start with Joe and then they can send messages back and forth to each other. So those are all different ways that programs coded in different languages can interact or communicate. In this case, for Ruby on Rails, this app is written on Ruby. It communicates to the database somehow, presumably the normal method, which is there's it establishes a database connection with Postgres. Postgres exposes like a server. It's not like a web server technically, but it has some protocol that you can send it specifically formatted data that encodes the queries, and you'll get results back. So they're communicating over either like a socket or a file, but probably almost certainly just over the network. And you might have been asking that question for because of the HTML stuff. And for that, I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. But really, it seems like we're using Node, right? So we can ask, I think it's going to use Node so that it serves JavaScript, working with JavaScript in Rails. It's possibly just embedded a JavaScript interpreter. It serves JavaScript through several modern and legacy mechanisms. Modern delivery, Rails 7+, use import maps or specialized JavaScript building solutions. Server-side integration with UJS and Ajax. Asset pipeline sprockets. I don't know. Okay, so what is actually... Is it running Node? Is it embedding V8 or similar? Okay, so this is saying it serves the JavaScript as raw files directly to the browser. Okay, so it's not running JavaScript on the server side at all. It's just sending them to your browser, which is what I was about to say it does with HTML. Hang on here. Yeah, sorry about that. So the HTML are just strings from Ruby on Rails' perspective. If so, HTML and JavaScript are just strings from Ruby on Rails' perspective, assuming that the Google AI is right. And so it's not like in this particular case, it's not necessarily a different language other than just generating a string and returning it to the user. So that's the views. It seems to largely be this Haml stuff. Card Haml. I'm guessing if planting is active, planting finish button. I'm guessing these are not written in Ruby on Rails. Are views generated or handwritten usually? I'm guessing you can handwrite something if you want to. They're typically handwritten, although they are often initially generated during the early stages of development. In production level applications, views are almost always handwritten to ensure custom styling. Okay. So whatever ERB is. So I don't know if these are written by hand. We might be able to look at apologies. So I don't know if these are handwritten. We might be able to look at the history and see if there's like precision edits or render where a planting is in card view. And they add the garden slug, delegate. Although they're adding the to the model at the same time as they're adding to the view. So I'm guessing these are probably handwritten, although I'm not really certain. Like this small is probably handwritten. And I guess that each time they add to the views, and then there's some CSS that goes with it, but I'm not sure. So if there is handwriting stuff, that's somewhat interesting. That's code that we're more likely to look at, but we're already maybe about an hour in. So I want to get to the controllers since we haven't gotten there yet. And controllers are normally where all the behavior is. Although this is such a database-driven app that I'm not sure how complicated they're going to be. Authentication should be complicated. Activities controller charts. What kind of charts are we talking about? Crops controller and garden controller. We'll just peek at a few of these. So a crops controller is going to extend the application controller. Before action, authenticate member. Except might mean what happens if there's an exception. And I'm guessing that we go to the index. Hierarchy search show. Maybe we go to the index and show the search bar. I don't know what that means necessarily. And then we're going to load an authorized resource, ID param. So I'm guessing this is using like the member ID for authorization once we've authenticated. Skip authorized resource only, hierarchy search. And then we're going to respond to, I guess we'll provide information as HTML, JSON, RSS, CSV, and SVG. This might be one of the nice reasons of using like something like Ruby on Rails is that you can get like an RSV rendering of the same information essentially for free. I don't know what responders flash means. Maybe that's like a toast or pop-up. And then what are we? We're in crops. Then we're going to populate stuff with this crop search. And we're going to boost by plantings. Plantings count, harvest count. Limit 100. We're going to search everything and we'll have this boost. Is boost the property of Elasticsearch? Yeah, so it increases the relevance score. You can apply boost to queries to prioritize certain matches over others. And then I think this is maybe just recording the number of crops. And so on. And then whatever wrangle is, we're going to get the approval status. And then we're going to, by indexing into the params. And then if the approval status is pending, then we'll say crop pending approval. Otherwise, we might say crop rejected if it's rejected. Otherwise, we say it's a recent crop. And then there's some pagination. And we've got this crop search service. And we're going to search for things. This is, I guess, the crop search bar. And this is all very declarative. It's an interesting way to code. Format HTML, data improvement, case activity tab, etc. Okay, so that's what a controller looks like. Authentication controller. We're going to get the Omni auth. Current member authentication, auth credentials, token, secret. I'm guessing that I don't know where we're actually storing the authentication data. I think that maybe Ruby on Rails just like stores usernames and secrets, and it's just well trusted enough that you don't need a third party authenticator. I'm guessing probably what's going on. Crops controller. Is this the one we just looked at? No. No, this is the charts. I don't know what makes this be a chart, but we have this harvested for, and we have pie chart query. Okay, so they're going to build up a pie chart of what, all of the crops you've harvested, and where something. To-sim. I don't know what to-sim means, but I'm guessing this means like this is a chart somehow of some counts. To-symbol. I'm not sure what actual data is being used to build it up, but this is obviously a chart. And they're calling render JSON planting. How do they know it's a pie chart? Because they're calling pie chart query. Def sunniness. And then they've got a query for sunniness. Oh, I see. But I don't know. How do we know it's a... I still don't understand how we know it's a pie chart. Respond to JSON. So the things that we're drawing pie charts are sunniness and planted from, I believe. And then this seems to be a custom defined function. Render JSON planting where... Let's try Ruby on Rails. Render pie chart. Maybe it's just built in. Just one line of code. Chart kick. Gruff. Maybe the JSON somehow encodes the chart. Let's ask. I'm gonna actually ask an AI what is going on here. Where did my AIs go? How is this rendering a pie chart? DuckDuckGo didn't like that. How is this rendering a pie chart? Transforming database records into a specific JSON data structure required by a front-end charting library, commonly ChartKick. So is this just a dependency? But I didn't see it imported. Yes, ChartKick. Okay, so there's some library that that's doing this. Maybe ChartKick registers maybe ChartKick like somehow registers a renderer that looks at JSON, and then the JSON field itself, I don't know, possibly can figure out that this is supposed to be a pie chart based on the fields or something. I don't know, some sort of magic. The gardens controller is even simpler. It's got a timeline with some data that starts like an empty list, and they're going to find all of the garden slugs and the plantings where planted at is non-nil, and we're going to order by when they were finished. Use finished at if we have it, otherwise use predictions, and they're going to render this as JSON. That's going to be another chart. And maybe somehow the fact that they were in the charts directory might also tell it that ChartKick should do its thing. Okay. Have we looked at all the stuff? I don't know. Now let's go back with the question of how would you contribute to it? I guess first of all, you should you should know a little bit of Ruby on Rails. It seems a little bit different from many other programming languages, but it doesn't seem hard. I don't know like how bad you, is it possible to make a syntax error that's not visible until it hits production? I'm not sure. I don't work with Ruby. I think Ruby's dynamically typed, right? Should plantings have ratings over time? There are beginner bugs, curated beginner, effort small. Allow me to remove myself as a garden collaborator. Progress meter for long-lived crops. Okay. Cayenne pepper. Oh, here we finally get a screenshot. I couldn't really find one in search. So, here's the crop, I guess. Is that what it's called? And here's the Latin name, Capsicum annuum. And it was planted at some point in 2023. And I guess it's supposed to grow. Why are all of these chili peppers going off screen? I don't know. That seems maybe like that might be a bug. But it tells you, oh no. That's because that's the pepper. And this is maybe the pepper in its like sprouting state. But it seems like this should maybe have some other way of rendering. So it's not all the way to the right. But that's neither here nor there. But I guess there's a quantity of 60 seeds. Planting is still something or other grown from seed. Progress, 179 out of 1,347 days. Is that how long it takes to plant a chili pepper? How long does it take to grow chili peppers? It's really thinking. 60 to 150 days. Would it ever take 1,347 days? Nearly 3.7 years. Can easily thrive and produce fruit for that long. Okay. Age of a specific plant rather than the time it took to grow and crop. Okay. So what is this bug asking for? A progress meter. Oh, here. Hey, in fact, this is what this bug should. That's exactly what this bug is asking about. I thought it was asking for a progress meter. It's just asking you to wrap it. Okay, so it should wrap this or contain it to the bounding box in some fashion. So, and they have the code, which is from Ruby's perspective generated. And these are, I guess, the individual days, the progress. And the request is to wrap it. And by adding, in this case, what? Maybe another unordered list, or I'm not sure exactly what's different, but maybe another list. Example with flex, wrap, and justify content. Okay, so they added flex. I wasn't sure if there was flex here. There's flex here, but maybe they added it down here. So they're adding some wrapping, which seems like a good idea. And is it still open? I will give it a start. And then, so this is a bug that somebody can work on. How is that done? I think flex is a CSS property. I'm not positive. Flexbox layout guide. Ooh. HTML flex wrap long horizontal list. To wrap a long horizontal list using CSS Flexbox, apply display flex and flex wrap to the container element. Okay, so they would need to add the flex wrap call to the CSS, which we didn't see, but it would have to be conditional. So maybe they would do that by having the HTML of sufficiently long lists have a different like name or ID. So that's one example of a beginner bug. They only have two. And then allow me to remove myself as a garden collaborator. Visit garden, show, add collaborator, choose user 2. User 2 has no idea what this new garden is, tries to remove self, can't as not owner of garden. Expected, I can remove me. So this is like a permissions or authorization issue. I'm guessing it would be fixed by adding a line somewhere. There's some incantation that says who's authorized to do what. And you'd need to add that to the appropriate file. And I'll ask in Ruby on Rails, how do I express that Joe is allowed to modify the foo object? So permissions are typically expressed using authorization libraries. Using Pundit, I don't think there's a policy. Enforce it in the controller. Okay, so authorize foo. So update find all params ID. Authorize foo. This calls foo policy update foo update. But how to foo policy? This is like adding the policy. How about how do I have the policy that says how do I express what's a good example? Any user in a car maybe any user on a bus can request a stop. Is that the right sort of question? By checking the associations, you have some stop policy. So if the user bus ID is the record bus ID, so you have some policy, then use it in the controller. Def create stop equals stop.new. Authorize stop calls stop policy create and stop save. Okay, so it seems relatively simple if you figure out what is going on with the syntax, but I don't even know if they have policies. Let's see if they have policies here of this sort. Application policy. They don't, but they do have authorize, right? Let's search for authorize followed by @ set OAuth scopes to what we actually need. This is for third parties like Flickr and Twitter. And maybe OmniAuth is for authenticating to those services rather than to the growstuff app itself. So here's issues. Wait, can I just go to issues? I find GitHub's UI so kind of a little bit confusing. Not necessarily, not confusing. I'm not confused. Just not, it's not easy to do the things that I wanted to do frequently. But let's see if policy appears. Let's see if application policy appears in the issues. No. What about authorize followed by a space? Or just authorize? Def authorize. Authorize admin. Load and authorize. Authorize manage all. That's for the admin controller. Authorize bang. Create garden collaborator. This is the thing that they're supposed to modify, I think, anyway. Load and authorize resource. ID param slug. Where does the authorize bang? Okay, so new. I guess this is creating a new garden collaborator for the garden. I guess if you own the garden, you're authorized to create a garden collaborator, I guess, and you're authorized to update it. And I guess the hard part here is that if we don't have update, member find by, where's remove? Delete? Whoa. We have update. Destroy? Okay, destroy. So we're going to get the collaborator. We're going to authorize for destroy. And if collaborator destroy, redirect to garden, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is what happens. If we destroy it, where do we redirect to? So I'm guessing that part of the reason that this isn't there yet is I don't think there's a convenient way without policies that I see to express the idea that some other arbitrary user has a has destroy permission if they don't own the garden. So it looks like so far all of the permissions are for somebody who owns the garden. If they don't own the garden, to destroy it, to at least remove themselves. I guess call update. But it's like a specific kind of update. I don't know if there's like a remove user. At any rate, so it seems like that. Seems like maybe there's an expressivity, although I'm not sure. Let's try remove user. Remove tradable from seeds. Remove column. That's something else though. That's like database migrations. And let's try owner. Planting owner. Yeah, I think that they need more, maybe more roles. We have one file for roles, belongs to members. It might just be a matter of if there is already a role for the ability to modify users on a, maybe they just need to modify self role if they have roles. I'm not sure how robust this role thing is, but who knows? All right. That's just an exploration of grow stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you're all the way at the end, I hope that you at least enjoyed it. If you're falling asleep, I hope you're having a nice and lovely sleep. And I hope you will join us again next week for Ants Are Everywhere.